Hello everyone. Would you want to have someone walk you through a 5,000 question in a very few days? Welcome to this course. That's what I did. I dissected every single question of USMLE Step 2 CK and USMLE Step 3 and highlighted the key features that you should focus on when you read the question. So every question starts with a age, chief complaint, and then history, and then they add some distractions, and then they go to the physical exam, and then the actual question. Usually 9 to 10 lines. That's how the question is. So what I did, I noticed that there are certain keywords lead you to the diagnosis immediately so that you don't have time, you don't have to read the whole question. I'll give you an example. For example, when you see well-demarcated erythema, this is most likely erysipelas. When you see circular area of hair loss, this is most likely alopecia. So my approach is based on the two rules of success. The rule number one is called Pareto principle. Pareto principle says 80% of the results comes from 20% of the efforts. Why? Because these 20% are the important ones. So a lot of students spend a lot of time on things that are not important or doesn't show up on the exam, and they end up spending so much time, wasting their time, and then they're not getting the result that they want. And on the other hand, there are students who spend a very short amount of time studying, but they focus on the important stuff, and they get much more higher score than the first type of students. So this is what I'm gonna focus on. It's called Pareto principle, just focusing on the important things. And I made it in a very interactive way. So I did it with very smart students. So the way you handle this course is that you listen to the video, and when you hear me asking the question, you pause the video and you try to think of the answer, and then you continue the video and just see what the answer, whether you answered right or wrong. Okay, so this is what I did. This is the rule number one. The rule number two is called the Parkinson principle. Parkinson principle is called the magic of imminent deadline. So when you put very short amount of time for a chapter, you will finish it in that short amount of time. But if you put long time to that chapter, usually you're gonna spend the first few days procrastinating, and then you push yourself in the last few days before the deadline. So always have a deadline. So that's why these courses, it's a very short, very few hours. You would be able to go through the whole USMLE Step 2 CK for the USMLE Step 2 CK course. So I always, like when I was studying, I always wanted to have someone who does that, because usually when you spend like 20 minutes or 10 minutes in a question, and then you go through a 3,000 question, you tend to forget the questions that you read the first time, that you read 2-3 months ago. So that's why I felt this review is very necessary, that could walk you through the whole exam in a very short amount of time. And for this USMLE Step 2 CK, it's good for Step 2 CK and for Step 3 too. Okay, so if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you inside the course.